I think it's so important to play with your medium, and that's really just what I was doing here. Like, it was such a different process to any way that I paint normally, but I was just picking a brush that I've not used before and the mirror mechanic which I haven't used before, and just making marks that were pleasurable to make, like that each mark individually was something enjoyable, and not doing it for like a reason, not having a goal that I was aiming towards. I think that's a really good way of approaching a drawing when you don't necessarily have to be doing anything. I think we spend so long trying to draw something and approaching drawing from the point of view that it needs to become something, and I think that's such a, I don't know, like a poor way, I guess, of doing it. It's not really conducive to kind of learning, I suppose. I mean, there are so many kids and we are so impressed by what they do, but really they're just like playing. They're just playing with their medium, and well, we should really learn from that as adults. We should get back into the mindset that actually this is fun. It's fun to experiment, and it's fun to play around, and it's these, you know, like when you get a new toy and like the novelty of having it. I think we need to try and sort of cultivate that novelty, cultivate that satisfaction of using a tool in a certain way, or finding a new way of using it. And like in this piece, there's so much going on, and none of it was planned, none of it was sort of preconceived or contrived or anything. It was just, you know, I made a few marks, and sometimes I recognise something in the marks and I would turn it into something else, or I would just let that mark stand and sort of be there for itself. And this really was a doodle. Like, there was no direction with it. There was no goal for it. I didn't have any kind of I wasn't planning anything. I was just thinking that I was going to make some marks, and well, I approached it from I'll make some marks and I'll recognise something in the marks, and then maybe I'll draw that, or maybe I'll make lots of marks and then I'll do a few drawings based on some things which I've found. I think it's such a good way to get away from your sort of your muscle memory in your hands. I suffer quite a lot from drawing the same thing over and over and over again, and not really feeling like I'm progressing anywhere, not feeling like I'm going anywhere with it. And I find it really difficult to just kind of free draw, I suppose, just kind of do something, do anything that's kind of outside what I'm used to, what I generally draw. And that's what this was so helpful for. It was, you know, it was just creating something that was so sort of wildly different from what I'm used to, kind of doing all of these different shapes and all of these things just for the pleasure of doing it, just literally just for the satisfaction of putting a mark down and letting it stand in its own right. That's, you know, I think that's quite an empowering thing, and suddenly feeling like when you make enough of these marks and you actually got, like, you have an image there, and the individual marks themselves, you know, that at least on what I've got, you know, they're so not precise, they're so vague, they're so, I don't know, not considered. They're just, I've just put down things, and in some places, especially around like the lines of symmetry, you know, you get some really fun like mirroring things going on, and the way that our brains work, you get a lot of things coming out where you'll start to recognise faces or images or kind of anthropomorphic like forms coming out, and that's really fun. You know, you see a lot of stuff going on, and you don't have to kind of push it. You don't have to worry about making those things become something, but then you don't have to like try and move away from them either. They just happen. It's a good moment of mindfulness, I suppose. It's a good moment of kind of just like experiencing an image. and experiencing the process of creating an image as well. I think that's such an empowering thing. And all too often as artists, we don't really allow ourselves the space to just create. And you know, as somebody who's definitely learning, and I mean we're all learning, but I'm very much kind of at the start of my digital art journey. I've done things in the past, but they've been very much as like a side to traditional art, whereas now I'm definitely wanting to get more into kind of more sort of pure digital art and finding things which you can do specifically because it's digital art. And I think that's really exciting for me. It's really exciting to kind of to be able to move into that sort of space. But to get back into the mindset of a learner, of you know, when you're a child, you're going through school, and what you do is you get up and you go to school and you learn, and you're there to learn, and that's like a defined role for you. Whereas the older you get, at some point you kind of forget how to learn. You start taking for granted that you know how to do things, and then not moving beyond what you know how to do. It's really difficult to be bad at something. Really difficult to kind of allow yourself to be bad at something and allow yourself to carry on with things that you're bad at. And I think that was a really good experience from doing this image. There was a lot of stuff in here that I genuinely was just like, oh, this is terrible, but at the same time, you know, I stuck with it, and there's loads of times that I just sort of scribbled away. And you know, this was originally just going to be some line works, but I kind of let it go as far as it wanted to go. And I think that was actually really empowering as well, because it allowed me to push it beyond what I could have ever really thought about before. I couldn't have planned this kind of an image. It had to be something that was spontaneous, and it was just so enjoyable to make. It really was just something that kind of fell out of my hand as I was doing it, and being able to witness that kind of process was, I don't know, it was just a really powerful feeling. I would definitely recommend it as well, especially with digital art. And here's another practice that you can do with drawing is, if like me you're quite precious about paper and about creating an image that is justifiably good to have taken a piece of paper, that is quite prohibitive to doing any kind of drawing, and then you get out of practice, and then you can't create any images that justify that kind of material usage. So I mean, this is obviously something which is negated somewhat by doing digital art, but in the real world, you know, you've got post-it notes, you have the backs of receipts. Every time you go and buy a coffee or go and buy, or you shoot food from a supermarket, you can take that receipt and you can use that as just a throwaway piece of paper, because that piece of paper is going in the bin anyway, so you might as well just do a little drawing, a little completely stress-free drawing. It doesn't have to be anything, it doesn't have to turn into anything, it doesn't have to be preconsidered or directed. It can just happen, it can just come out of you. I think that can be like a really empowering experience, and I definitely think that we should push ourselves more, and not just with image making, but I think it runs across a lot more of a kind of a broader spectrum of skill bases than just image making. But it's so difficult to kind of push ourselves to be creating these things, and push ourselves to do things that we don't necessarily consider ourselves to be good at. And I just found this a really positive experience for me, and it's definitely encouraged me to keep going with it. I mean, this painting took me 14 and a bit hours in total. I mean, that's just of the painting time, just over 14 hours. And that might seem like a really long time, but it wasn't like I was doing a step along a path. It was just like I was doing a thing. I was just doing a bit of sketching, I was doing a bit of scribbling. Especially when we get to this kind of colouring in stage, it was just like considering how light might strike the lines that I've drawn, if they were to be sort of ridges and peaks and crests in a 3D form, kind of turning it into something a little bit more sculptural. I'm trying to work out how I can turn it into something a little bit more sort of visual and kind of step out a little bit. Just really practicing lots of different techniques, lots of different things about light direction and about color temperature and things like this. And you know, these weren't sort of consciously directed lessons. You know, these were just things that happened because I was doing it. But I have so much of a better I don't know, kind of consideration, I suppose, for these kinds of colour things, and ability and sensitivity towards using the brushes that I was using, towards using the program Krita, which I've been using maybe for, I don't know, maybe like 25 hours, 14 of which were on this painting. Like, it was just such a good learning experience, and there's so much that you can take away from doing something like this, and it really does like permeate through all of your different kind of disciplines with regards to art. I think it's definitely worth pursuing and having a go at. Because you don't really lose anything by doing it. You gain a huge amount of experience. But you know, these images, they don't have to be shown to anybody. They don't have to become anything. They don't have to be anything. They can just be marks that you make for the satisfaction of making marks. And like on an image like this, you get to a few tens of thousands of marks that you've made for the individual satisfaction, and you know, I'm quite proud of this image. I really enjoyed making it, and I really enjoyed the process of making it, and I learned so much from doing it. And there are definitely places that I can go from this, and there's definitely improvements that I can make, and ways that I can streamline my workflow. But it was just a really positive experience, and I would totally recommend it. I definitely think it's worth having a shot at. Just these kinds of throwaway images, stress-free. Hey, whatever gets you drawing, right? I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have, stay tuned for more. I hope you have a great day.